Hello, welcome to Tonglen for Climate Change. So, I'd like to offer an on the spot practice today for when we read something, or maybe we see something when we're at a park or out in the world, or someone says something to us and we feel upset about it. When there's like an actual, like we see that there's an actual injustice that's happening, and there's a reaction of anger or wanting to stop what's happening, or um, or you can also do it with just like if you feel reactive to something someone says or something that you see or read. And the reason this is helpful is that when we respond from a place of charged reaction, then we're adding more charge, more confusion to the situation. Where also the person can feel our kind of righteousness or that anger, and automatically they usually feel defensive. On the other hand, if you're able to engage in the situation from a place of clarity, from a place of um, actual clearly seeing what's happening and being able to speak from a place of wisdom, then the person can feel that. And then much more, it's much more skillful. There's much more room and space um, for for wisdom to be there, for someone to see, oh yeah, maybe that does cause harm in some way, or something is happening that could be better. Instead of eliciting reaction from the person, there's actual space for conversation. And so this applies to activism in general, like being in rallies, writing letters. The more we can come from speaking from a place of truth rather than reaction, the more we can actually accomplish. And so it's more beneficial and skillful for what we're working towards also. And so I wanted to give a short practice for it today. And of course, it could be expounded upon in many ways. So when you notice that a reaction has happened, when you can feel there's like a sense of fire or a sense of hardness, or a kind of a sense of indignation in some way, or like that kind of impulse to change something, you can take a moment just to take a breath, come into your body, and feel what's happening in your system. Really get a sense of what's the energy that's there, what are the thoughts that are there, what are the feelings that are there. So it's kind of like shaking hands with, acknowledging, touching, just very briefly, but fully, like really having this sense of curiosity. What's happening here? And so you're not so much fueling the thoughts or talking about the story, but you're really pausing for a second to come into presence with your experience. And then the kind of attitude or aspiration here is that, like, may I be free of that reactive energy. May I be free of the confusion and suffering and the the fuel that's adding to the reaction that's happening here. And may I rest in a place of wisdom, in a place of clarity, in a place of skillfulness, where I can then move from my own awakened nature and be skillful in this situation. Um, so that's kind of the view that we're having. Um, and so when you're doing the practice, you stop, you pause for a moment, and that with that aspiration to be free of the reactivity, to be able to come from a place of care, of well being, of true service and benefit to this situation, you begin the practice of Tonglen. And so you breathe in that difficulty, that reaction, you breathe in that energy and imagine it dissolving in the open spaciousness of your heart. dissolving in your basic goodness, in the presence and clarity of your being. And then at your own pace, on an exhale, breathe out, offering to yourself and imagining yourself receiving it wisdom, clarity, presence. And you're not rushing in this. Like if you really pause and come into presence, you can really just do one full breath, being fully present, one full breath out, being fully present, and it transforms that energy. You can also do a few breaths. So we can practice that together. We'll do like 3 or 4 breaths in and 3 or 4 breaths out. So you're breathing in that challenge, that difficulty, that reaction. You can also breathe in any parts of your heart that hurt in the situation, and breathing out, offering wisdom, skillfulness, compassion. You might like to also extend that out and bring this other person or situation into the Tonglen practice. You can maybe see different ways that they're suffering or there's confusion there. Um, and so you can breathe in. Imagine being able to actually remove that confusion, that reactivity from this person, from the situation. Imagine relieving them of their suffering in the situation. And then breathing out, offering wisdom, compassion, skillfulness. And so you're breathing in, imagining that you can actually relieve the causes of their suffering, of their confusion. It's breathing into your open heart, your basic goodness. And then from your own awakened nature, your own merit, benefit, wisdom, you're offering out what's supportive to this person, this situation. And then if you have time, you can pause and rest for a moment. And then take a moment to dedicate the merit of the practice. Dedicate that. By dedicating the merit, we're sharing the benefit of the practice with all beings. We're making the wish that by us pausing and working with our own reactivity, our own charge, our own confusion, may it be of benefit to every single being. May it help every single being be free from confusion, free from reactivity. May it help us all experience our own well-being, our own awakened nature. And so it can be helpful to do this practice on your own when you have a little bit more time and space. So you get familiar, you kind of train in train in the practice, get familiar with the ideas, take time to kind of to digest it, work with it. Does this make sense? Like, what are we talking about here? And so spend some time working with it, exploring it, and then on the moment, on the spot, you'll already have that kind of sense with it, and then you can do it in that moment. And it can really only take, 5 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, and it can be really beneficial. So enjoy the practice and feel free to be in touch and let me know how it goes.